大家你们好，我是陈美。I've been to Hong Kong now about 5 times, and each time I've been, it's only been a few days. For example, this time I came on a Tuesday and left on Thursday night, so it's a bit mad, really. But in general, I was here for the reunification of Hong Kong to China, which was, I think, the most special visit for me because it was part of a historical moment. You know, I was performing in the Happy Valley Racecourse, and that was the coolest visit that I've had here. It's true that I started recording when I was 12, and I was excited more than nervous because I thought, well, you know, I've been training for a few years now, I should be doing something. So that was kind of my philosophy then at the age of 12, quite sort of get up and go attitude about life in general. And I've never really been nervous. I mean, before I go on stage, I think, oh my god, it's going to be nerve-wracking, or after I think, wow, I did that. But when I'm actually on stage, it's kind of too late to be nervous. So I've never been nervous on stage, not even as a 12-year-old. Yeah, it was strange, you know, singing for one of the first times on this album, because I've been training for so long as a violinist, and this is my 9th violin album now, which I just can't believe. You know, I've done 3 pop albums now and 6 classical albums, and it's just been really fun. But I just felt that since I was co-writing all the music on this album, it'd be fun to experiment with different things within music, and we started slipping in a few lyrics, a few vocal numbers, and so we thought, let's dedicate 3 songs to the album, which is, you know, 12 songs long, and just do 3 vocals. And it was natural because it was like a natural extension. I think singing is even more natural than playing the violin, but obviously I've been playing the violin far longer than I've been singing, so it's kind of a weird perspective that I came from. You know, I started training on the violin far earlier than I even thought I would be singing. It was great working with different producers on this album. I mean, there was really only one producer on this album, which was Youth, and myself writing and working with him on this album, conceptualizing it, was great, because Subject to Change, this album, was just such a new sound for me, you know. Never before have I done such a pop and contemporary album until this one. And then, you know, when it came to remixing, I thought, well, it'll be fun to get remixes to rework some of the singles, because, you know, it's going to be played in clubs and stuff like that. And so I went through a list, and I chose some guys called Escape, and a guy called JS16 who've just worked with The Rude and Bomb Funk MCs, and I just thought, oh, it'd be really cool to just add a new dimension, because, you know, a lot of dance remixes, they're not just like plonking more sounds on, but sometimes it's quite inventive, the way they sort of turn around an original track and make it something that you can imagine being played in a rave or club. Subject to Change is a title that I've kind of been into for a long time now, and kind of started before the album, and I think subconsciously, even though I left the title aside a bit to concentrate on the music and let that dictate the future title of my album, it was always sort of in the back of my mind, and it had to be, because over the last 2 years so much has changed in my life. I mean, between the last album and this album, just, you know, the way I choose to work, the music that I choose to play, I mean, the music in itself is much more pop and dance, and myself as an artist, I'm much more willing to try new things on the violin that you know, take it away from what people know the violin to be, which is, you know, fundamentally a sort of straight classical instrument. And myself as an artist, I mean, to be branching out and writing just indicated that there was so much more to do for me in the musical world. And, you know, change is something that's going to happen to all of us, whether we like it or not. I mean, change has happened this time for me for the better in my life. The urge to do different things, I think, just stems from the fact that I've never really had just one principle in life, you know. I mean, all my life I've come from, you know, I've got 2 different fathers. I've lived in Singapore, then I went to move in London, and then I went to China to train while going to school in London. So I've had quite a cosmopolitan and unconventional upbringing. So I thought, you know, since I was trained in classical, that doesn't mean that I have to live my life in classical. It means that I can use that as a base, but at the same time, you know, go into other areas of music that maybe I enjoy as a music lover, and incorporate that into my style as a musician. So that's really what happened when I was 15 on the Violin Player album. I think, yeah, I have played in some pretty great places and weird places. It's true, Times Square, Happy Valley, and it's weird to say because, you know, a historical place obviously imprints a special memory, you know, and a special sort of feeling of this is an occasion, you know, in the performance you really feel, wow, this is a special place to be presenting my music, and it's going to really work together as a concept to present new music in a historical place. I just love that idea. But it wouldn't be fair to say that I only look for historical places to play, and so I ignore the sort of stadium shows or the, you know, smaller concerts that I do, or rock festivals, because in a way they're all special because you're playing to people for the first time, or people who've heard of you again and again and just want to hear more of you. So kind of I can't really choose one place which is my favorite, and you know, you play in one place like Happy Valley, which is amazing, but then you come back to Hong Kong, and I will come back in the autumn of 2001 after Subject to Change is released, and I will perform live, and I won't be able to say that that was better or worse than Happy Valley. Racecourse, I'll just say it's a different time for me. I think, yeah, I mean, up to an extent you have to be impulsive because, you know, there's only so much you can plan and plan for in your life, and everything else kind of, you have to be kind of quite adaptable. And you know, I'm not saying everybody should jump on a taxi in the middle of a performance in Times Square, but it just felt appropriate because Times Square is about the traffic, it's about the tourists, it's about the amazing buildings and the, you know, those kind of screens that advertise loads of things on. So it's about the hustle and bustle of the place, and for me it just felt stupid to be playing on a stage without getting deep down into the spirit of Times Square. So that's kind of when I went on my taxi. But I think in general, yeah, I think I'm willing to take risks, let's put it that way. I mean, I enjoy my comfort, I enjoy my patterns, I enjoy my habits, but sometimes I need to break free from my own cage, you know, and just get out there and do something new. Oh God, I think, yeah, I've tried lots of different things. I mean, and there were things that just happened. Talking about impulsive, it wasn't something that I ever planned for, really. I mean, doing something in Mulan, the film, and going on Jean-Paul Gaultier's catwalk show, that was fun, you know, but they just happened, you know, just like a few months before the event. You know, I was invited, and the thought was a proposition proposed, and I thought, well, yeah, why not? It'll be a laugh. But I think in general, the one place where I really have plans is in music. Anything else that passes my way, I might say yes to, or I might feel, oh yeah, maybe I can do justice to that and do a good job of it. But there isn't anything that I could plan as meticulously as I plan the making of an album or the making of a tour. For a moment, yeah, I was thinking, oh, is this really the life? You know, should I be traveling and trying to build a career when I should just really be having a stable academic career for one, and then seeing more of my friends, and then deciding what I want to do after I've had a bit more life experience, so to speak. But then I thought, well, you know, this is a time, you know, friends, if they're real friends, they'll wait for you, and building a career kind of won't. So I was really happy that I started at 12 professionally, and now I'm 22, so I've had 10 years of experience within classical and then more, you know, experimental pop music. But I think in general, you can't have everything in life. You try to have the best of both worlds, and you set that up for yourself, but there are some areas where you have to compensate, and that's just normal. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to have everything in life, to have a normal childhood while having a career as a teenager.